Hi everybody, if you don't know me already, my name is Kaylee. I'm a gut health nutrition coach and I help people to overcome their chronic gut and digestive issues using the principles of ancestral nutrition as well as some other holistic health principles. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why choose an ancestral holistic approach to healing your gut issues. So, I say it at the beginning of all my videos, so I want to talk about what I actually mean by that today. So I'm going to cover what is ancestral holistic approach, how do you use it, how I use it, how you can use it, and why I really think this is the best approach, why I've had so much luck with this approach, why I really believe in it, and why I feel like it brings so much clarity to all the conflicting info out there. So if you're interested to hear about that, stick around. And I do have a few spots open right now in my program, Ancestral Gut Healing. So if you are interested in healing your gut at the root and you want some help with that, just stick around till the end and I will talk more about my program, what I offer, and all that good stuff. So let's get into this video. So first, I want to talk about the modern medicine conventional approach to healing your gut. So I talk to a lot of people that have gut issues. So I've heard a lot of stories about what's gone on in the doctor's office, and some of the things I hear just the most often are, I talk with a lot of people that are constipated. So they go into the doctors and they hear, eat more fiber, drink more water, maybe here's a laxative. I've had people tell me they've taken medical grade laxatives and still not had anything come out. So, sometimes it can be pretty bad and they're just not getting the answers that they want. Also, a lot of people get told to do testing. So they'll have like a colonoscopy or endoscopy or a stool test or breath test or blood tests or all these tests. And very often, sometimes something comes back that, helps out a little bit. But very often they're told, I don't see anything wrong, it must be in your head, or they just get a lot of answers that don't feel like they're really being heard in what's going on, or feel like, maybe they don't believe you that something's wrong. But you don't have to have a test saying something is a certain way for you to know that something's wrong. If you feel like something is off in your body, something's off in your body. It's telling you that for a reason. So yeah, that's some of the stuff I see. Also, just a lot of pills are pushed, oh, you have something wrong, take this pill or take that pill, you have acid reflux, take an antacid, you have constipation, take a laxative, so many things like that. And then, it's just really not a root cause approach. It's like you have this symptom, how can I make you feel a little bit better? Or you have these symptoms, I can try this test. Oh, the test didn't tell me anything, I don't know what to do. So really just most doctors aren't equipped to handling like chronic gut issues. It's just not their expertise. They're more trained in, either prescribing pills or helping with symptoms or diagnosing things, but they're not really trained in how to help you get to the root cause of your issues. So it's not really their fault, it's just different approach. And if you're not getting to that root cause, you're not going to heal for the long run. You're going to be dependent on those pills, or just not feeling good, or maybe something will help for a while and then it'll stop. So you really do have to get to that root cause, and that brings me over to the ancestral holistic approach, which I love so much. So this is very focused on the root cause. It's focused on understanding your body, what's happening in your body, how you can work with your body better, how you can get your body to do the things it's supposed to do better. So basically, let's touch on, so by ancestral, we've noticed these flaws in modern medicine approach. So how can we go back and see what people have done a while ago? People are getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and there's so many more issues nowadays. Health-wise, chronic illnesses just keep on rising up. So what has changed? Like, there's so many more toxins nowadays, so much more stress, worse diet. So ancestral is all about going back and saying, wait a second, we're way off the path. We need to backtrack, see what was working, where we were on the path, and then go from there and make sure we stay on the right path. So we look back at what our ancestors did, and my favorite resource for this is Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price. This is a book that Weston A. Price wrote after he traveled the world in the early 1930s, and he looked at what these people that were still living in an ancestral way, so they weren't trading and they didn't have sugar or seed oils, or they didn't have refined flour and things like that. They were still farming and hunting and gathering and living in an ancestral way. He looked at their diet and their health, and then he would go over to these neighboring towns that were more modernized and had access to trade, and they did have sugar and they did have vegetable oils and seed and white flour and candy and preserved foods, and they were no longer following those traditions of eating the organ meats and making the bone broths and making things from scratch and all that kind of stuff. Their health was so different. So, the facial structure was different. The ancestral people, their teeth grew in straight, their faces grew very symmetrical and appealing, and their nasal passages were wide, and they had overall so much better health. They had stronger bones. They weren't getting tuberculosis, as opposed to these other people that were getting that, and the modernized people were having eyesight issues and weaker bones and so many health problems, and it's only gotten worse from there. So I like to go back and look at what these people were eating and these different practices that they had that worked so well for so long. So things like eating nose to tail, including those animal food, or including those organ meats, including the bone broth and all that good stuff, and really shying away from a lot of the modern processed foods and instead focusing on fermenting your foods and making sourdough bread and doing things from scratch, and living more outside and just living more like our ancestors did. So this has worked for hundreds of thousands of years, so it seems just kind of dumb in my mind to throw that all away and try to start from scratch. So I really like to incorporate that. That's what I mean by ancestral. It's not about like rigid rules, it's just about looking at what has worked for a really long time and fermenting our foods, preparing the grains properly before we eat them, and eating the whole animal has worked really well for a really long time and really helped to nourish people and make them healthy and really good and not have all these chronic issues. So that's what I mean by an ancestral approach. It's very dietary focused, but it does also include spending time outside, getting sun, going in cold water, having a community, exercising, moving your body. All those kinds of things are included as well because they have a really big impact on your health. And by holistic, I mean, while I'm fascinated by the ancestral approach, there are things that are really interesting in science as well, so it's very interesting to understand how the digestive tract works and, how you can make that better. So the holistic side of things, I mean more like, having apple cider vinegar water, or what kind of teas will benefit you, or how our detoxification systems works and how you can improve that, how sweating helps you get rid of toxins, and how drinking burdock dandelion tea helps your liver. So I mean just including things like that are very natural. This is not over-the-counter laxatives. This is not modern medicine. This is not refined things. This is very, very natural, very subtle. How can we get your body doing what it should be doing? You're not having bowel movements regularly. Instead of being like, oh, just take a bunch of laxatives, okay, well, are you stressed? What's your diet like? How can we switch this up? Are there little things that help you? Let's look at your routine. Let's look at your position, all of these different things. So by holistic, that's kind of what I mean. It's kind of hard to put into a exact definition, but really it's looking at these more natural practices, really understanding how your body works. So that does include some more modern science things, but in a very interesting way of understanding, where our organs are, how they contribute to our digestive system, what's the gut microbiome like, how can we affect that? So that's really what I mean by the ancestral and the holistic side of things. So let's see what else I have here. So this approach just really works with your body to regain that balance, that balanced state where your body is functioning the way it should. And I wanted to share just a few examples of people that this has worked really, really well for, so you can see, why I believe so strongly in this. So I have a client, Will, and he was relying on anti-diarrhea medication to make it through work. And we really worked on his diet. We got him eating more ancestrally. We worked on his gut microbiome, you know, introducing fermented foods, getting rid of things that were harming it. And he was off his medication in just 2 months. And in 3 months' time, he overcame his diarrhea, his constant stomach pain and cramping. It was all gone in 3 months. And he was also able to gain 15 pounds in 4 months and like crazy up his strength in the gym. So he was really stoked on that. And we really didn't do anything crazy. It's this, you know, getting your diet down, working on the microbiome, working on the root causes of the diarrhea. And he healed. And the medicine before was just kind of keeping him in that dependence on it. But now he doesn't have to use that anymore. And my client, Derek, he got in an accident and he had his spleen and half his pancreas removed. And then he developed gastritis, esophagitis, nausea, stomach and intestinal cramping. He had like this painful, gassy feeling in his throat, diarrhea, vomiting, bloating, and just pain when eating. He had a lot of issues. And for 3 years, he was dealing with this. You know, the doctors gave him medicine to try to help, and it just wasn't really working. So we started working together, and he was able to get off his medicine and overcome all of his symptoms in 2 months of working together. So that was like, that kind of blew my mind. I was stoked for him. Like 2 months, that's awesome. So he actually did an interview with me. He was super kind to share his story. So if you want to see it, I'll link it up above if you want to check that out. Okay. And then another one, my client Darian, she had really bad acid reflux. She had loose stools, bloating, gas, a lot of issues. And I got her off those antacids, really worked on the root cause, really worked on her diet. That was a huge thing we worked on. And she was healed of all her symptoms in 3 months. So there's a lot of other stories, a lot of other people I've worked with and had the same results. For myself, it was massive. I had constipation and IBS, bloating, abdominal pain, all that for 10 years. And, you know, I started to figure some things out right before that. I found the ancestral approach, but once I did, and I started including the organ meats, you know, really eating like our ancestors, making my own bone broth, making my own fermented veggies, really cutting back on those grain, seeds, nuts, and legumes, and yeah, just really embracing this, it made all the difference for me. And it was just insane how much better I felt and how much that really made my gut issues go away and stay away for good. And now it's been, oh my God, like 5 years or something since I've dealt with any of those. So I really love this approach. It makes so much more sense to me. It really clears things up, because a lot of times you'll look things up and it's very confusing. You know, is fiber good? Is fiber bad? Is low FODMAP good or whatnot? It just gets confusing. So I think that looking at what has worked in nature with our ancestors for a very long time, for me, makes so much sense. It works really well and it provides a lot of clarity. It's less black and white. You know, is something bad? Is bread bad? You know, okay, well, what are the grains like? Are they sprayed? Are they modified? Or are they regular, normal grains? Like, okay, did you ferment the grains and make your own good sourdough? Or did you just do it really quick with yeast and not really prepare the grains properly? And, you know, how does it make you feel? It adds more things into play instead of being like this good, this bad. And just, that makes so much sense to me. So I hope that this video kind of explained why I like that approach more and kind of showed you what it actually is and why it's so great. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I have some spots open in my program right now. So I use this kind of technique in my program. I really teach people how to eat in that ancestral way. And I take it another step in adding the gut healing way too, because sometimes it's not quite enough to just eat like our ancestors, because a lot of them didn't have gut issues and a lot of us do have gut issues. So there's a few other things that we have to take into account to make sure we're really healing our guts. So I teach people how to eat ancestrally, how to get all their nutrients in, how to eat a gut-friendly diet as well, what will work for them. Everyone's a little bit different. And then I just teach them, you know, what are the root causes of gut issues, how to get your digestive system working well, yeah, and just how to overcome their symptoms for good. So if you're interested in that, if you want to learn more, I'll put a link down below to book a call with me, and I can share more about what I offer. You can share more about what you're going through, what you're hoping to achieve, and we can see if it's a good fit to work together. And yeah, you can decide if you want to join my program. So if you are interested in that, be sure to book a call with me. I'd love to talk with you, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching till the end. If you liked it, like it. You can subscribe if you want to see more ancestral nutrition and gut health related videos. And yeah, comment if you want. I always love reading your comments, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, I like to hear that as well. Or if you have any questions, I like to answer those too. So feel free to do that. And if you know anyone who could benefit from this video, feel free to share it. All of those things help me out a lot, and I always really appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching.